Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Thank you for tuning for another episode of CSP, ladies and gentlemen. And today we have a very special guest on. We have Adnan. He is the co-founder of Blossoms. And without any further ado, I'll get him to introduce his business. So, Adnan.
Thank you so much for the introduction, Chiranjeev. Hey guys, so my company name is Blossoms PVC. I wouldn't exactly call myself the co-founder. It was founded by my parents, but I am the one who I take part in running it. So we are into apparel manufacturing and corporate gifting. So we basically have like two or three factories in Tirupur where we manufacture t-shirts, shirts, bags, caps, umbrellas, and we supply them to corporates like Ultratech, Cement, Asian Paints, etc. So yeah, that's our main business.
All right.
A tiny question. So these
Yeah.
products that you actually do sell to these companies, are these for the employees of the companies, or are these for merch that they sell to their consumers?
They're not merch that they sell to their consumers, but these products are usually given as as like gifts to their employees, but they're also given away as like promotional merchandise to their dealers. Like a lot of these cement companies and paint companies, they employ like a wide distribution network where they have like wholesalers, dealers, etc. So these guys, they instead of just like normal advertising, they get their brand name and like their product printed on these t-shirts, and then they give it to their dealers for them to distribute it.
Yeah. Very interesting.
Okay, so it's basically spreading
Yeah.
awareness about the company
Yeah,
through t-shirts.
yeah, it's like promotional apparel basically.
Okay. Okay. All right. So,
Yeah.
what got you into wanting to, and did you want to inherit this business from your parents?
Okay, so to be very honest, I like most second gen entrepreneurs, I found my parents' business to be very, very boring at first. So for like I'm 19 right now. So for like the
Okay.
first 16 years, I'm like, there's no friggin' way I'm getting into this. Because like who wants to deal in like, like like promotional t-shirts? It's not even like this like really sexy, I'd say like fashion brand where like, we travel to like Milan or something like that.
Yeah.
It's literally just like go to Tirupur, like get all the orders, get the production done. It's not very flamboyant as such.
Okay.
And so, I tried to run away from it as much as I can, like as much as I could. I started like a mask business right after the first lockdown. It
Hmm.
was called Mask for You. Like me and my
Okay.
friends started that,
All right.
where we used to like supply cotton masks to
Oh,
people.
wow.
But
Okay.
like the sales were good. But like the moment I realized that like, I could print company logos in these on these masks and like sell them to companies. So that's when I was like, okay, like supplying these kind of apparels to companies makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. It's,
And yeah, I did like a bunch of other things after that. I had like the startup called Buy or Sell Any Wash with my friends.
uh,
I- it's the worst idea possible, all right? Like, like the pre-owned watch market's a big business, but
yeah.
on like the high end, like high tickets, like above
Yeah.
50,000. Me and my friends had this stupid idea where we thought we'd sell like G-Shocks and like other watches that are under 20,000 pre-owned. And we thought like people will buy them, all right? No one bought them because we like approached a few people and they're like, bro, why would we buy a second-hand G-Shock when I can just buy a fake one for like 2K? And then we were like, what, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So like it took like a lot more convincing, and then later I was just like, maybe like my family business is like the best platform for me to learn, but eventually I will do something else.
And were your parents willing to hand you the business, or was there some, was there some persuading that you had to do? Please.
No, see, the
Uh,
thing is I'm the only kid, so like there's no
okay.
choice.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So coming back to the specific business you're in because of the whole clothing
Yeah.
industry, what are some challenges that you face while you're in the clothing industry?
See, so I think one major challenge would be the rising prices of like cotton yarn. So a lot of the cotton that is being produced here is like the cotton fabric, especially is being exported to other countries, because of which there's very less cotton left for domestic producers. So due to that, there is like I wouldn't call it like a huge rise in prices, but there is like there's like a slight rise in prices. And another thing would be, there's a lot of competition in this business because again, manufacturing like apparels it's nothing like breakthrough as such. So you have a lot of businesses competing in it, and the problem with like a lot of businesses competing again, we go to like fight over rates and stuff
Yeah.
because of which our margins reduce. So I'd
Okay.
say these are two of our biggest problems.
So, are there any strategies that your company uses to stand out from the rest of the market?
Yeah. So in our corporate, like we again, like we are specialized in corporate gifting. So we produce promotional apparel. I'd say our USP is that we are manufacturers. Most of our competitors are actually middlemen. So they purchase it from other factories and they go to supply it. And we supply directly to our clients. So because of
Okay.
which, we're able to like sell it to them at a much competitive rate.
Okay. That sounds. And so, what do you think is the next big trend in the clothing industry?
Um, the next big like from the
The next
B2C
big
space
thing.
to the B2B space.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Okay, the next big trend in the clothing space from like the B2C, like the consumer line or like the B2B line.
From the
So
consumer
from
line.
the consumer line, I have absolutely no idea.
Okay.
I'll just be very honest with you, I have no idea.
And what about the other?
The B2B space,
Yeah.
I'd say, there's nothing new as such in the sense that we're not going to have any like significant breakthroughs. The only like advantages that the industry could benefit from is like modern technology. So it's only when like we start implementing like modern means of production would the industry see some sort of benefit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I found it really interesting when you said at first you found the whole idea of taking over after your parents' business as boring. Um,
Yeah.
I think in this day and age where you go to any social media platform and you see just how much people are promoting the whole uh, lifestyle of leaving the 9 to 5, starting
Yeah.
your own company. And I've heard this a lot too. Do you really think that it's feasible for everyone to just leave the 9 to 5 business, start their own business, and then later realize that it's something that requires much, much, much more effort, and then stick to their 9 to 5 itself?
See, I'll be very honest with you. Like in the idealistic world, everyone can become like an entrepreneur or a businessman. But to be
Yeah,
very realistic, I think most people are better off sticking to their 9 to 5 because when you're in your 9 to 5, your responsibilities are limited from like 9 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Yeah.
But if you're in a
exactly.
business, right, your responsibilities are gonna go 24/7. Like, have you seen this video of Ben? Are you aware of are you aware of Ben Shapiro?
Yeah.
Yes.
Very
Yeah,
much.
have you seen that video of him debating this? I think this worker who's working in like a pencil factory. So this pencil factory worker comes up to him and he's like, "I'm putting in all the effort. Why shouldn't I get a better reward? Why shouldn't I be paid more?" And then Ben Shapiro tells him, "Okay, hypothetically, I'm your pencil factory owner. If my factory shuts off today, you just don't have a job. All right, that's it. But I'm out of a job too. I have so much debt that I need to pay to my creditors. I've lost all my respect. I've lost like the business owner loses a lot more things. So, unless like you have that risk appetite where you're willing to take those risks and greater amount of pressure, you would rather stick to a 9 to 5.
Well said.
I mean, I completely get that. I think people have to judge their financial situation, their social situation, how confident they are in themselves,
Yeah,
how confident they are in their ideas. Because I think the higher the risk, the greater the reward. But
naturally.
at the same time, people tend to get a little greedy and they focus only on the reward, and they tend to and they fail to realize just how much risk they are putting themselves, their friends, their families into, if they do decide to take up a certain action. And I think any decision does have some opportunity cost. And
Naturally.
yeah, I think at the end it comes down to the person's uh, confidence in themselves. But yeah, well said, and I completely agree. Um, I have another question. Of
Yep.
course, a typical question we ask anyone who we bring onto the podcast. Who do you look up to, or who is your um, business idol?
Um, uh, I as I think as you know, my business idol would definitely be Jeff Bezos.
Amazing.
I think it would definitely be Jeff Bezos. Like for a second, I was really confused between Elon Musk and like Bezos, but I'm mm, like all the respect to like Elon Musk, but like what Jeff Bezos has done from like a very traditional business sense is it's goddamn amazing. So definitely him.
Yeah, no, and I think um, unlike Elon, Bezos has been in the industry for a much longer time, and
Yeah,
he's slowly grown and diversified his portfolio. Whereas Elon, obviously, from a perspective of someone who just scrolls through social media and is, I mean, the articles and all that, every day you see him in another field.
on Twitter.
One
Yeah,
day it's about
Yeah.
SpaceX, one day it's about Tesla, another day it's about something else. There's no continuity and there's no flow as such. Whereas Bezos started off with the whole delivery system first, and then he went into Prime Video, then he went into Prime Music. So it's like he's climbing a ladder, whereas
yeah.
Elon, it kind of looks like he's climbing three ladders at the same time. So it's hard to keep track of. But yeah, I mean, I completely respect the whole idea of having Bezos as your role.
Yeah,
I think there's
that's
this concept of like the Amazon ecosystem. You should really look into that. So it's about
Yeah,
how Amazon has like acquired businesses which would like benefit all their other businesses. So it's like they've created this entire ecosystem, which I think like Elon Musk is never focused on. But like again, respect him. He's gone into like various fields which are not related and like running all those companies. Like that's I don't know what to say about that, man.
yeah. I think he's the king of a conglomerate. I think moving from
Naturally.
Tesla to Twitter, and yeah, I think obviously props to him. I think he's done whatever he could. Of course, now if I'm not wrong, they did change the CEO of Twitter. They
Twitter,
removed.
yeah.
yeah. The
But yeah,
lady, right?
I mean,
If
I
I'm not
think this
wrong.
again. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I think this correlates to the whole risk to reward ratio. Of course, he did think that there was a real growth opportunity by taking over Twitter, but of
Yeah.
course, as we all saw, it didn't turn out extremely well. And yeah, I think that's just more of a learning, like how you said too. You started off by selling secondhand watches, and of course, that didn't work out the way you wanted it to.
Naturally.
And now see, yeah, and now you've gone back and you realize, okay, sometimes you don't need to always experiment with the newest stuff. You can stick to the traditional roles and stick to what your family knows and what you naturally know, because they shared so much knowledge to you, and you've gone back there. And yeah, tiny follow-up question again.
Yep.
As you said, again, coming back to the whole boring part of the family business, I think recently with again social media, people have started drop shipping, investing in crypto, and they what people fail to realize is that the most successful people in the world, they don't have the most flashy businesses. They have the most
Naturally.
simple ones, and I'm talking about the ones who are controlling the steel industry, the coal
Oil
industry, the
industries.
big guys. Yeah, I think that doesn't come off as a very flashy job, and that
Naturally.
doesn't, yeah, and that doesn't interest a lot of people, because when they think of business, they're like, oh, let's make money. but through something we're also extremely passionate about. But yeah, I think that's about it.
So yeah, as you said, like I feel that you know becomes flashy when there's a lot of money involved.
Yeah,
Because if you look at the oil industry as well, very basic. It's something that you just buy into, and but once you look at the lifestyles of these people in the oil industry,
yeah,
man, like the Saudis and the even the Americans who are in the oil industry, they
yeah.
are living life. They are loaded and yeah. So
I
Yeah,
think,
I think when it comes to lifestyle itself, I think I saw this clip from Joe Rogan's podcast where
yeah,
he said if you take a look at the lifestyle that the number one richest person is living and you compare it to the 39th richest person, you won't see a major difference because they're all earning in billions and billions of dollars. And just because the 39, because I'm pretty sure in like whoever's listening right now, they might know the richest person in the world, at best the second and third, but after that it's just a name, like just names of people.
yeah,
But at the same time they still tend to live the same life as the richest person because there's a limit to how much you can actually spend. um and yeah, I think that's really confusing when people tell me that, oh, look at how the number one person's living. And yeah, it's like once you get onto the Forbes list, you made it. It doesn't
that's true.
matter whether you're second or 15, you're still making a lot of money and spend it however you wish to.
all right.
I'd
So
like to
yeah,
come back to Moksh's point actually. Where
Yep.
and your point too, where you like mentioned like boring businesses again, like oil, steel, cement. I think, you know, like in our generation, like as I said, like we're all looking for like the flashy thing, but the flashy thing is not always the biggest problem to be solved.
yeah,
And by
that's true.
solving the biggest problem or the biggest need, that's where you can make the most money. Like oil is essential, paint is essential, cement is essential, logistics again essential. But like, a 15-minute or a 30-minute delivery, how essential is that?
Yeah, that's true.
Or like a
Exactly.
fashion brand, how essential is that? So I think that adds to the point where, solve like the biggest problem and you are gonna get the biggest reward.
That's why you need to understand
Exactly.
the economy and the market very, very well
Naturally.
before you just throw yourself into an entrepreneurship. And
Exactly.
uh, it's key. Like you can't just start a business by a post you saw on Instagram.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot more to it. Coming back to the money side of things,
Yeah.
since you've been the head of Blossom, how much revenue have you generated?
I don't think I'm allowed to disclose that,
Okay,
but uh, I mean, see,
To
I
give
wouldn't
us
call
a
myself the
rough
head again. I
figure.
wouldn't call myself the head again. I'm a part of it. Like it's my
okay,
parents running it, but
all right.
um, we're comfortable. It's comfortable. It's
It's
going all
come.
right.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think that says a lot. But yeah, I think another question is so of course now, as you just said, you aren't exactly the head of the business. So
yeah.
what's your long-term plan or your long-term vision for the business itself? Do you see yourself taking over the company completely? Do you see yourself just staying as well a shareholder and then joining other businesses or starting other companies?
See, so I definitely see myself taking over the business like completely in like I'd say the next 6 years, but and I'd say the future vision for the company, like as of now, we manufacture our own products and we have a brand called Blue Ash through which we supply these
Okay.
products. But we're also like, I mean, it's not official yet, but like maybe like in a day or two, we are going to be like one of the official corporate sales partners for Puma.
Wow.
And then we're also
Okay.
looking at signing on like a few of these other more established brands where we can sell a lot, where we can sell like their merchandise to our existing corporate clients. And like we already export to like the Middle East, but right now we're registering our company in Dubai. And so again the Middle East is
It's a big
a
market.
big, it's a very big market, and
Yeah.
export is one of the best businesses in India.
Yeah.
So we're definitely looking at like increasing the revenue earned from exports, and we also supply to middlemen actually. Like there are a few exporters who are currently buying our product and exporting it. Like this is from the consumer side. So we've made like tourist T-shirts for like the Caribbean, and there's like a couple of guys who are like buying our T-shirts and selling it to tourists in the Caribbean.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So, and definitely, like, I'd like to go into other businesses. And I'm also like, I'm sort of involved in politics too. So, definitely would continue in business.
Okay. That's big plans for the future. Huge plans.
Yeah, I think if I may, as you said, you are involved in politics.
Yep.
So where do you see India in the next 10 to 15 years? Because I mean, according to statistics, of course, not trying to be a stat merchant here, but India is set to grow and become one of the biggest economies in the world by the
Yep.
year 2030, which is only 7 years away. So where do you see India going?
See, I definitely like this is my personal opinion again. I definitely believe the only way for India now is like up. Like we are definitely gonna go like as you said, our country is going to be one of the biggest economies, and we have one of the youngest like populations. But one
Yeah,
thing we definitely have to keep in mind is that our participation of women in the labor force is very, very low.
It
Like
is.
last I checked, again, I might be wrong, but it was like around 8%. All right. China could
right.
grow because it had a like women's participation in the labor force at around 92%.
Oh,
So we
Right.
need to address these kind of issues too.
yeah.
So, I mean, again, we're definitely going to rise, but I do think the government is addressing these issues.
What do
Yeah,
you
I
think?
think it's
What do you think of the Beti Padhao Beti Bachao campaign that was going around a few years back? It's I haven't
Um,
heard of it
yeah.
lately.
See, I'm
Uh,
definitely all for it, but like, I'd, it's gotten a lot of like benefit and like it's helped a lot of people. But as you said, that campaign is just sort of withered away. So
yeah.
it's sort of like, is Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao not an objective anymore?
Okay, so if
exactly.
it was still in
Yeah,
place, would it be very beneficial in the long term, or if not, what are better ideas to implement
I
that?
I couldn't get you.
So if it was still in place today and it was in the
Yeah,
long term, as it was
yeah,
a few years back,
yeah,
would it be as beneficial as what China, programs that China had to
yeah.
increase women's labor participation rate?
See, I definitely think it would be beneficial. Like, education is again one of the most important things, especially in today's day and age with like the rise in AI technology. Like
Yeah,
like you're not going to have like a lot of coders, like, like I think like low level like programmers having a job anymore. Most of it is going to be done by AI. So the only way to, I'd say, be employed right now is to understand these technologies which comes from education. So not just for like girls, but like guys too, or like other genders also. Like everyone just like learn as much as you can.
yeah,
Yeah, no, I think I completely agree with that. Of course, getting women to participate more in the labor force is or is going to be one of the key factors that's going to help us grow as an economy. But I think the biggest thing that what our country should focus on is to convert the amount of workers in the informal sector to the formal sector. Because according to a statistic from 2022, which
Okay.
for a research paper that I did, 90% of the population in India, this is from the labor force specifically, works in the informal sector, which essentially means that there isn't any taxes that are being gained by the
Yeah.
government because these people are working in the informal sector. But yeah, I think more and more, so the rise in number of the people that are one paying taxes, one that are being employed, I think the more revenue the government has, and the more they can spend on actually bettering the whole economy, whether it's the infrastructure, whether it's spending it on merit goods such as healthcare, education, and whatnot.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I have a question for you guys.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yes.
based on what you've said, Chiranjeev, you definitely seem like you're a capitalist. Like you're definitely inclined towards capitalism. Am I
100%.
right?
Oh, I'm
100%.
hardcore
Are you inclined towards capitalism?
Yeah.
Okay, thank God.
No, I think that is why we were so excited to record this podcast with you,
Yeah.
because it's the first time we've actually had a business owner to come and talk to us, and I
For
think
someone who-
it's a wonderful experience
Yeah.
for us and for the viewers too, to understand what exactly it takes to run a business. And yeah, I think at least my final question for the day would be, if you were to go back to your younger self, what is one piece of advice you would give yourself to, well, better your business knowledge or to grow much more in the business field?
Right. So if there's one piece of advice I could give to my younger self, again, the thing is I'm only 19, so I just have to go back like 3 years.
Yeah.
I tell like the 16-year-old Adnan, like, firstly, look before you leave. Like, as I mentioned, like the watch business in theory seemed really good. But if I'd done my research on it, right, I could have prevented going into that business. And that's one thing, like, have your facts right and be sure about what you want to do. Secondly, hard work, like as much as people say like smart work is like great and all that bullshit, nothing beats hard work. All right.
Yeah.
Like
I completely
you
agree.
need hard work. You need hard work, discipline, like consistency and smart work. But like hard work's the base. If you don't have that, you're not going to do anything. Thirdly, I'd say, you need to listen to people when you're like listen to like different opinions. If you're wrong, like be willing to accept that. And lastly, the most important one, like I would tell 16-year-old Adnan, would be to stay away from toxic girls. Like that's the most important one.
I think that's a piece of advice that's applicable to most of the people listening. So,
Yeah.
guys, listen
Even
carefully.
guys, please stay away from toxic anyone,
Like,
even as friends.
Yeah, guys and gals,
Yeah,
just stay away from
regardless
toxic people
of
in general.
guys, girls, yeah, exactly. Don't surround yourself with the best people. I think that's something I've learned the hard way, and that's something I've been told by my friends and family. But yeah, I think that's it, because we're running out of time. But it was wonderful talking to you, Adnan. I think I learned a lot. I'm assuming most learned a lot
I
too.
learned a
And I'm
lot,
2000% sure that our viewers learned a lot too. So thank you for joining us. It was a pleasure. And for everyone watching, don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, follow us on Insta, do everything. Like, we'll tag Adnan's account too. And
Definitely.
yeah, thank you for watching.
Thank you so much
Thank you.
for having me on board, guys. It was a great time.
Thank you so much, Anand, for finding the time
Thank you.
to do this with us. It was truly, it was really informative for me, and yeah, that's all. And if we don't
Bro, you
see
don't
you
need to be
guys,
so formal. It's a Sunday, man. Chill.
okay.
I was
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a Sunday. Don't be so formal. Come on.
you must be a very busy guy, I assume, because you're handling
Not
a
on Sundays,
business.
bro.
I mean,
Sundays are chill days.
Yeah, Sundays are chill days, man. Like, don't work on Sundays. Come on. Like, have a life.
thank you for spending your chill time with us.
Thanks. Sure.
And if we don't see you again, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Thank you, guys.
Good night.